Welcome back. Today we're going to create a tic-tac-toe application using the Playfield graphics that we introduced in the JavaScript series on canvas animation. And I want to reintroduce what a playfield is. The playfield is your area on the screen where you're doing your bitmap graphics. And on top of the playfield are playfield objects. And each object is independent. It can move around on the screen separate from the others. They have their own timers. They can accept keyboard events and mouse events and so on. From the coding point of view, the playfield has a bunch of internal methods. These are private methods, which I start with an underscore just to keep them as private to myself. Then there's some getter methods. These are exposing internal variables that I want the user or the application to be able to see. And for the most part, they're just the dimensions of the display, which are the X, Y, and the width and the height. Down below, we have the externally visible methods. These are our interface to the playfield. We can add a new object. We can redraw the entire playfield. We can start dragging an object and then stop dragging the object. We can create a selected object. Usually that means that it's somehow highlighted. And it also means that when we select the object, keyboard events usually go to that object, and we can deselect the object. We can pull an object to its front, to the front of the playfield, or push it to the back of the playfield. We can also start the playfield animation and do collision detection. We can scan all the objects in the playfield and see which ones are interacting. And then finally, anytime that there's a click on the playfield, we get the click event. We also can capture the key down event. And anytime that we're moving the mouse, we get the mousing event. That's the playfield. Its sister object is the playfield object. And this is any sort of object that appears on the screen that can move around, can accept keyboard, and is basically any animated object on the screen. Again, we have some internal methods. We can get its X, Y, width, and height. We can detect if it's visible or not. That's a new feature we've added, is the ability to hide certain playfield objects. We can send a playfield object to the back. We can bring it to the front. We can hide or show it, which means that it's no longer being updated on the playfield. We can detect whether an XY coordinate is in bounds on that object. We can also set a timer on the object, and this is pretty handy. Rather than having to use the JavaScript timer functions, each playfield object has its own timer that we can also set a callback event and a context to that callback. We can also get the timer to see if it's expired. Anytime that the object is being dragged around on the screen, we can capture that with the dragging event. We can move the object, that is to set its X and Y coordinate. We can make it the selected object or deselected object. And then finally, we have some abstract methods. And these are methods that are up to the user to supply. They don't do anything unless they're filled in. Anytime an object is moused over, if there's a mouse event coming into the object, we get the mousing event. If the user clicks on it, we get a click. If we have started dragging, that is, if for some reason the playfield has decided this object is dragging, we'll get a call to drag started. We'll get another call to drag stopped when the user stops dragging it. This is the draw method. This is supplied by the application to describe how this thing is drawn on the screen. And then the go method. And this is a very generic method, which is just whatever it is that you're doing on the screen, this is your chance to do it. And every playfield object gets called, the go method gets called once every tick of the playfield's timer. And finally, the key down event. Anytime that the object is selected and the user clicks the keyboard, the key down event will be sent to the object. This is the high-level overview of our playfield object system. Now let's get started by writing our first playfield object, and that's going to be the tic-tac-toe board.